Did you know you might owe payroll tax, even if you don't have any employees? If you're using contractors in Queensland, the payroll tax contractor rules could catch you out, and the bill might be huge. In this video, you'll learn exactly how Queensland's payroll contractor rules work, which contractors are caught, and, more importantly, how to legally avoid payroll tax using the 9 exemptions. I'll walk you through each exemption, show you real examples, and share the story of a person who thought they were in the clear until a surprise audit changed everything. If you don't know the difference between an employee, a contractor, or an employment agency in the eyes of the Queensland Revenue Office, you could be at serious risk. We'll also cover what evidence you need, how the 90 and 180-day rules really work, and what to do if you've already made a mistake. Stick around, this one could save your business thousands. Here's the thing, Queensland's payroll tax contractor rules are not just technical red tape. They're a revenue-raising machine, and the Queensland Revenue Office is watching. Now, most business owners still think payroll tax only applies to employees, but under Queensland rules, payments to contractors are often treated as wages unless you meet one of 9 specific exemptions. That means even if someone has their own ABN and invoice, you could still be hit with payroll tax. And here's where it gets tricky. The tax currently kicks in once your deemed wages exceed $1.3 million annually. If you're sitting there thinking, I've got contractors, but they're not my employees, hold that thought. Let's walk through how the QRO decides what's what. Here is the decision framework that could save you. Before exemptions even come into play, ask these 4 questions. 1. Are they actually an employee? If yes, game over, payroll tax applies. 2. Is it an employment agency arrangement? If yes, the employment agent pays the payroll tax, but you're still involved. 3. Does the contract involve labour? If not, relax. You're likely outside the scope. 4. Do you qualify for an exemption? If yes, great. If no, you're paying payroll tax. Now let me tell you a story. A taxpayer, we'll call them bluestone builders, hired subcontractors for landscaping, plumbing and electrical work. They were diligent. Contracts were signed, ABNs checked, invoices filed. They thought they were safe. But during a QRO review, it turned out they didn't qualify for the 180-day exemption because they used different landscapers across more than 200 days in the year. Even though no one contractor worked full-time. Result? Over $60,000 in unexpected payroll tax, plus penalties and interest. It's not enough to have contractors. You need the right exemption and the right documentation. Let's simplify this. If you tell someone where to work, when to work, and how to work, they're probably an employee. Let's talk about employees and contractors and also employment agents. Employee indicators include regular hours, superannuation and leave, company uniforms, and also direction over how work is done. Now, contractors should be different. Contractors use their own tools, can make a profit or loss, work for multiple clients, set their own hours and invoice for results, not time. But even these contractors are caught under payroll tax rules unless one of the 9 exemptions apply. And employment agents? Different rules again. If you're using an agency to get someone on site, the agency pays the payroll tax. But exemptions don't apply at all. That's important. Next, let's talk about the 9 payroll tax contractor exemptions. Exemption 1, labour is ancillary to goods. If more than 50% of the contract value is for goods or equipment, not labour, you're safe. Example, hiring a crane with an operator. The crane is the primary purpose, so this will be exempt. Exemption 2, the services are not ordinarily required. If the service isn't normally part of your business and the contractor earns less than 40% of their income from you, this is exempt. Example, a painter painting one branch of a bank, this is exempt. But if he paints every branch all year, this is not exempt. Exemption 3, the 90-day individual rule. If a contractor works less than 90 days for you in the year, you're in the clear. But night shifts that cross midnight, these count as 2 days each. Be careful. This catches a lot of people off guard. Exemption 4, the 180-day rule. This one's based on the total days that you need a particular service. It's not related to the contractors. Hire 2 landscapers on alternating days for 100 days each. That's 200 days. and it's not exempt. But hire them at the same time for 100 days. That's a service for 100 days and it's exempt. Yes, I hear you and agree. This is completely ridiculous. But unfortunately, it's the law. Work with the rules to put yourself in a better payroll tax position. Exemption 5. The contractor uses others. If your contractor brings others to do the actual job that's not admin, then you're exempt. Admin doesn't count. A plumber bringing a second plumber? Great, that's exempt. But a plumber's wife doing bookkeeping, that's not exempt. Exemption 6. Services to the public and the Commissioner's discretion. If the contractor works for 2 or more businesses and averages less than 10 days per month, you can self-assess this one as exempt. Otherwise, you can apply to the Commissioner using factors like advertising, client base, and equipment used. Exemption 7. The owner-driver. If the contractor is using their own vehicle to deliver goods and you don't contribute to vehicle costs, this one's for you. It's exempt. Exemption 8. Insurance contractors. This applies to insurance agents with an AFS license. Niche, but important for insurance firms. And Exemption 9. Door-to-door sales contractors selling directly to households, non-employees only, are exempt. This is rare, but still around. Now that's the end of the exemptions. Let's move on and look at contractor deductions and where businesses get this wrong. Say your painter invoices $10,000. You can't just deduct the material costs that he gives you. You have to use the approved deduction rate, which is just 5% for painting. So you'd only deduct $500. You then declare $9,500 as wages for payroll tax. And remember, GST comes off first, so these amounts are all net of GST. Here are some common deduction rates. Concreting, 65%, cleaning, 5%, tiling, 65%, plastering, 35%. If you can't see your rate here, check the Queensland Payroll Tax website for a detailed list or apply to the Commissioner. But don't guess. QRO doesn't like guesswork. Now let's talk about record keeping. This is very important, so don't skip it. This is where many businesses fail, even if they qualify for an exemption. You must keep signed contracts, scope of works, tax invoices, timesheets, site access logs, work cover records, contractor contact details. All for 5 years, not negotiable. If you claim an exemption and get audited, the burden is on you to prove it. Now we'll look at compliance traps and QRO hotspots. QRO has 3 favorite myths to bust. 1. I use contractors, so I don't need to worry. That is wrong. 2. This only applies to sole traders, and this is wrong. 3. We just report the labour component. Also wrong. They're using ATO data matching, industry analytics, and even field visits to identify non-compliant businesses. The QRO's focus is on professional services, tech firms, construction, and long-term contractor relationships. So, if you're in those groups, you need to be extra careful. Voluntary disclosure might be your get-out-of-jail-free card. Here's the silver lining. If you realize now that you have a problem and you come forward voluntarily, the penalty can be reduced to 0 if done by the due date. Even if you're late, penalties drop dramatically. And yes, you can still voluntarily disclose after an investigation begins. But the longer you wait, the worse it gets. Now, if you've made it this far, you're already ahead of most Queensland business owners. The payroll tax contractor rules don't have to trip you up, but you do need to take them seriously. Remember, this video provides general advice. You should always seek advice tailored to your circumstances. Give this video a like if it helped clear things up, and sign up for our weekly business tips full of practical, actionable tips to help you with your business. The link is in the video description. I'll see you next time.